All right, so day 30, I watched The Ambulance, which is a 1990 horror comedy that was released only on video cassette because on the poster art for this right here, it says it's just video cassette. So I guess it wasn't released theatrically. And if it was, it wasn't probably marketed much into, like, if it went to the theaters, it probably wasn't in that many theaters, I'm assuming. The Ambulance, I got the Scream Factory Blu-ray release, so that's why I watched it, and it was perfect timing for 31 Days of Horror. Like I said, this is day 30, and stars Eric Roberts, James Earl Jones, and a couple other people I don't know. But it also has Stan Lee in it as well, the famous Stan Lee who created Marvel, who did the comics. Um, and I like that this movie had a big connection to the Marvel comics because the character Josh, played by Eric Roberts, is a comic book writer and artist. He illustrates the comics, and that was pretty cool seeing that because this is way before any of the Marvel stuff that became big in terms of film. So it's cool to see that beforehand. So I like seeing that. That's pretty funny. It is written and directed by Larry Cohen, who I really enjoy, who did like Q the Winged Serpent, The Stuff, the It's Alive movies. I do enjoy Larry Cohen's movies. And this one, I thought that this one was totally solid. Like it wasn't one that I'm going to really remember that well. Um, but the plot of this is that there's a character named Josh, like I said, Eric Roberts, who is trying to find this girl who he met, and then she was taken by an ambulance, and then she just doesn't appear in the hospital. So he thinks that there's something going on, like there's a bigger mystery behind her being gone. So I like that plot. I thought that was cool, using the ambulance as a use of fear instead of like safety. That's a cool horror element that I haven't seen a lot in a horror. Eric Roberts, I have not really seen in anything else. He is an actor I've heard by name. The biggest reason I remember who Eric Roberts is by name is because of South Park and that episode where in season 2 where everybody's trapped in that hospital and there's the snowstorm, and then Eric Roberts is there and they're hungry. So they say nobody gives a shit about Eric Roberts, so we're gonna eat Eric Roberts. Like that. That's the only thing I know about Eric Roberts besides this movie. And I gotta say, his performance in this, I don't know whether to appreciate it or not really like it, because his performance is wacky. And it's typical Larry Cohen, which is great. Like in terms of these actors, and there's a lot of good side actors too. But Larry Cohen does a good job with these actors, and I think that with Eric Roberts, his performance is, I don't really know what to think. Like he's really extremely over the top, but in some moments it's like I felt like it could have been slightly toned down, even to Larry Cohen standards, if that makes sense. Um, there are other funny side characters. There's a guy that Josh is with at the hospital, because Josh gets taken to the hospital later, and this guy is really funny. He's in his 70s, and he's a loose cannon and says a lot of silly stuff. Also, there's a nurse character that is really funny because she is just a smart aleck character. And again, these are typical Larry Cohen characters, and I do appreciate that because it's just really fun with these characters. And let's see. There's some funny moments as well, like for example, where Eric Roberts, Josh, he's about to get mugged by all these gang members, and he tells the gang members that the ambulance who comes to try to get him as well have drugs on him. So get the ambulance, but the ambulance drivers beat up the thugs, and I thought that was pretty funny, and it was just a good use of humor, but a good use of thrilling as well. I did like that. I really just thought the movie was fun. It was totally solid and enjoyable, but it's not one that I'm going to really, like I said, really watch again. It's totally serviceable. It doesn't really fall into that full horror category because it's horror comedy. Like I said, it's Larry Cohen. Really, yeah, besides that, that's all I could say about the ambulance. Like I said, I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I watched it. It was definitely a fun watch. Just nothing like super incredible. It's totally fine. But yeah, the things I said I felt like were memorable enough, like, or the things that this movie had were memorable enough for me to say that I did enjoy it, and maybe I'll watch it again in the future. But as of now, I don't know if I will yet. But maybe one day I might get a hankering for it. Maybe I'll watch the rest of Larry Cohen's filmography again, and maybe I like this more. And like I said, I still thought it was fine. It was serviceable. It's interesting for sure. It's a different idea that I enjoyed. So yeah, that is it for today, day 30. Stay tuned for tomorrow, last day, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.